It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey, guys. Welcome back and happy Sunday. Oh, it feels so good to be back with all of you guys. I love this YouTube family. And, we just did an amazing live on Jason's channel at the end. And Jason said, one thing that I'm so thankful for is everyone here, the collaborations, the people we've met, and of course, this community. And I have to say personally, that's one of the things that I'm most thankful for too. So I appreciate you guys. And I definitely appreciate if you guys smash that like button and don't forget to get subscribed because this is a subscribers only live chat. Well, we're back to talk about the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, but we can't do it alone. So let's welcome Jason. Hi.
That was such a fun live, between Kempire, Yumi, Natalie. I think we've known each other the longest in these YouTube world.
These YouTube
streets, but I don't understand that. But yeah, the YouTube world, there's only a handful of people we communicate with off of YouTube, and that is Natalie, Kempire, and a couple of other people. So it's a lot of fun. Fun to talk. But we had a great little kind of chat about hot topics and shows we're excited for that are coming up because there's a lot. Selling Sunset was just released this past week, which was amazing. Ultimate Girls Trip we talked about. A lot of fun things coming up. Miami, OC.
And we're going to get to meet
Selling Tampa.
And we're going to get to meet one of our favorite people from our community, Murray. We're going to meet her this upcoming Sunday. I'm so excited.
One of our amazing mods.
And by the way, guys, if you're ever in Florida and you want a good time, just reach out to Jason and I. Slide into our DMs.
Or just Jason.
Okay. Or just Jason. All right. Well, Jason, so obviously we know that this past week's episode was extremely explosive, and I want to get into this. And obviously I want to start with that explosive moment. Kenya Moore ended up reacting to Ramona, and I'm sure she feels bad for the way that she reacted. She even apologized for it to the rest of the women. But Ramona has a way of pushing people's buttons. Now, when Kenya reacted, they're on this yacht. They decide to go out. Kenya ended up wanting to be the one who, let's say, booked this yacht because each of the women get to do something different. And when she booked the yacht, we've seen her before in the Real Housewives of Atlanta. When she books it, she can kick you off the yacht. Well, it looked like Ramona almost got kicked off the yacht. And if she wasn't going to get kicked off the yacht, it looked like Kenya was about to yank her ass off and throw her overboard. What did you get from this?
What a situation. Well, what I got from it, first of all, was we just had a party the night before. We were drinking a lot of tequila. You saw Melissa wake up with a headache. Everyone was kind of groggy. Now they have to get on a boat. Well, continue the drinks. So already emotions are going to be elevated here. So we're going into that. I'm not saying what Ramona does or says is right, just like I don't say that about Candace when she pokes the bear on Potomac. But reactions are everything, and Kenya was winning the fight to me until she started doing that. However, Ramona does not know when to stop, and then Ramona, what she likes to do, which she's very seasoned at, is to start something. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's done. But she still got to say it and not really prove a point, but kind of get the point out there. And just like we were talking on, our previous live, is we think, all of us, that Ramona's time on the franchise is a little expired.
Well, I think that it's more so like watching Ramona on the show. She's so unapologetically herself. And then when she decides to apologize, it's like, I am who I am. I'm sorry. What do you want me to say? I'm sorry. I messed up. But then she does it again and again, which means those words hold no weight. And, R. Petrick just made a great point. By the way, over 100 people in the room, less than 5 minutes. Go ahead, smash that like button. You guys are the best. She said, I did feel bad for when Kenya attacked her only because Ramona's abusive raising. I could see fear in her body actions. And I don't know if you noticed this. And I think Melissa Gorga tried to approach the situation with kid gloves. Ramona did
Kyle. I think they kind of tag teamed on that.
Yeah, I think they did too. And, Ramona kind of curled up to Kyle and was like, I don't know. What am I? Listen, I'm sorry. She just touched me. Why did she touch me? And I'm thinking, you can't be that silly. You're looking for a reaction. You can't tell somebody to, F you and call them the B word. And you don't know people. Everyone is going to have a different reaction. If you go out here and you say, Adam, you're a bitch, I'm going to be like, that wasn't very nice, but I'm not going to give you a big reaction. Whereas I have siblings where go ahead and say that. It might be a totally different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's part of me though, I do agree with Kyle when she said, I forgot exactly what she said, but Ramona is this, Ramona is unfiltered. Ramona, it can be rude, but she is hella entertaining, like 1,000% entertaining. And she is entertaining, but at the same time, like she's been entertaining up until now. Now it's kind of just ridiculous. And for her age and to be acting like this just kind of throws me off just a bit.
Well, I agree with that too. And we know, and I just spoke with one of the housewives today. I'm not going to spoil it because we have another interview coming, but I spoke with one of the Real Housewives of New York today, actually by surprise. She slid into my DMs. I didn't slide into hers. So shocking. And she wanted to let me know she watches us on YouTube. So it goes to remind you, you never know who's actually watching. And she said, I appreciate you following the story from start to finish. And for Ramona, right now, Bravo just launched a whole investigation into Ramona for allegedly saying, this is why we do not have Black people on the show, which is terrible. Terrible. First of all, you can't say that. It doesn't matter if you're Black, white, Hispanic, Indian, like you can't say that. You're all of a sudden grouping people together, which is disgusting. And they launched this whole investigation. They found nothing, right? And then Heather Thompson, who we all know as Holla, she came back and she said, wait a minute, I was at Luann's house when Ramona said that, and she definitely 100% said it, but nobody asked me when they were doing the investigation. And it made me think, did you do an investigation in Ramona's favor, not asking the real people who were actually there and heard it in order to keep her on the show? That way you didn't have to fire her? Or did you do a thorough investigation?
Heather chose to leave. So I don't know if they, did we all forget about her? Yes, we did. But I'm not giving her an excuse or a pass, but they should have asked everyone who was there.
But do you think Heather's bitter? Like Heather's like, wait a minute, these women didn't want me around and they tried getting me off the show. So watch this, I'm going to clap back. Or do you think she's telling the truth?
No, I think she was telling the truth. But as someone who was a previous cast member, I don't believe that none of the women wanted her there or whatever. You have to find a way to fit in and to kind of camouflage yourself within the group. Like that is your job when you sign up for it. She just wasn't, I don't think, ready for what happened this season.
I agree. I think that, when Kempire said on just when we did your Wiki, and he said, I think her behavior has expired. I do too. I think at one point we celebrated this obnoxious way of being, like, I'm up here, you're down here, like Kelly Ben Simone, I'm here and you're here. I think we celebrated that at one point, but now it's not about that. It's about inclusivity. It's about people learning how to get along with people and respecting that everyone comes from a different walk of life. And for Ramona, I don't know if it's the stigma of the Upper East Side or what the vibe is, but there's something about her that it's like this hierarchy in the way that she navigates life, her friendships, and like the world. Like I'm on a show.
Where have we seen this hierarchy though before? We've seen it from another cast member, Vicky Gumbelson, who didn't even like the fact that she wasn't sitting next to Andy Cohen at a reunion.
No, but do you see what they did to her? I think once we get to a certain point with these housewives where they get like too big for their britches, so to speak. And Nene Leakes is by far one of my favorite housewives. But I think when you start looking at the network, like you're doing more for them than they're doing for you, and you start voicing this kind of opinion of like, you need me, I don't need you. They're super quick to be like, no, girl, let me show you how much we don't need you. Watch this.
Right.
Yeah. Well, for Ramona and Kenya, if you guys didn't watch season 1, episode 5, then a little bit of a spoiler alert. Kenya wanted to play a game on this boat. And the game was read a card, and it was an iconic quote from one of the housewives that's a part of the current cast of Ultimate Girls Trip. And you guys have to guess why or who said what they said and why they said it. And then the person who said it has to explain it. Well, they start talking about Luann, and Ramona says, Luann likes to hook up with everybody. She has one-night stands. She Fs everybody, and she does it on the first night. Luann gets pretty upset about this because, one, it's disrespectful.
It's your friend, and it's the only ally you really have on this trip.
And she's been protective over her.
100%. And then it's like, let me throw you under the bus, back it up, run over you 5 more times in front of these ladies. But they didn't appreciate it. And Teresa didn't appreciate it.
And we have to get to that too, because I didn't appreciate how Luann came back for Teresa. But we'll talk about that in a second. But for Ramona, I think that she has this way about going through or navigating these relationships by saying, like you hook up with everybody on the first night. Like you always do that. And I wish I could be like you because you embrace your sexuality and you like to hook up. And I want to be more like that, which is like a nice nasty. What you're saying.
Nice nasty for seasons, where she blurts something out or says something and then has to quickly retract and cover her tracks really quickly. She's like, no, I didn't say that. I meant this. Don't you understand that I want to be like you? And it's like, what the hell? Did you just insult me? And then now she's so confusing.
Yeah.
It's so redundant at this point.
I mean, I agree. Guys, 200 in the room, smash that like button. Rick Brown said, when Kenya launched at Ramona and took her hand and smacked the drink out of her hand, Ramona reacted as an abused person. That was a natural reaction from somebody that has harmed her in the past. Also, Trudy Ann Barker said, now, Kenya called Ramona a peasant. If she knows the meaning, it's not okay, and I'm not a Singer fan.
However, Ramona has called many people help peasants. She's put people in her place, so that's where, for me, I was like, whatever. I do have to say, someone said in your chat too, that game was set up. Facts, 100%. All of these women who are on the Ultimate Girls Trip know the assignment of being a housewife. That's why they're on this trip. And of course, I don't believe it was set up, but I'm pretty sure Kenya made sure she had a great game to play for her event.
I don't think it was set up by production. I think it was set up. I think the housewives know, like, for example, the best example I can give is Lisa Rinna. She knows her games are iconic in the housewives world because every single time they start a big knockout drag out, everyone starts fighting. It creates a moment. And I think Kenya's very aware of that too. And she knew there was going to be a moment from this. And as soon as she said the game, all the other housewives were like, oh, here we go. It's about to go down. And they all know. They can like read the room. They're like, oh shit, this is about to be bad.
But I love how Kenya's all smiles.
She was until she wasn't. And with Kenya's reaction, I don't know if you don't tend to go on social media as far as like Twitter and stuff very often, but a lot of people are reacting not in Kenya's favor, only because I think this stands true in any situation. You lose the argument when you put your hands on somebody. It doesn't matter if I grab you by the wrist, if I knock a drink out of your hands. Once I get invasive to that extent and I just even come in your space and I put my hands on you, you lost. And I think Kenya knew that. And I'm sure production probably said, listen, before this gets bad, in this same episode, on this same day, you need to apologize for that, which she did, but she still is making her stance known. I don't like her.
Of course, but we don't have a whole season to come to this resolution. We only have these 8 days. So there needs to be some kind of, it's like conflict resolution, which I'm glad Melissa brought up. That's what makes a good housewife in this episode. It needs to be contained into 8 days. So you really have to figure out, where you stand with certain people quickly, which also is great for this show. However, I was Team Kenya up until that happened. Then I was Team Nobody because I was like, okay, too much. But they reminded us that they're still housewives. And this show has been nothing but, honestly, to me, we were talking about how Selling Sunset is more cotton candy drama. And that's what we were getting with Ultimate Girls Trip, which I genuinely enjoy. And then here we were like, oh, they're still housewives. They still got that housewife in them where they're going to like not let it go.
Right. And I think it's important to know too, like we watch them on the show and we don't expect to get these reactions when they take it to that next level, but we're all human beings, right? Like, even though it might not be our best moments, Kenya's still a human being. So with Ramona sitting there, and now this is the third time she's blatantly disrespected her. She told her to F off. She called her the B word. She's calling her Portia. I think Kenya in this moment, and I'm not taking Kenya's side or Ramona's side or trying to justify putting your hands on anybody, but I think Kenya was like, I've had enough. No, you're not going to walk through like this is not okay. It might be okay on your franchise where people ignore it, but I'm here to tell you, we don't do that shit. And Teresa said the same thing. She's like, this would not fly on my franchise.
No. And the frustrations have been shown and the frustrations continued into the evening, even more so when Ramona was, I thought, extremely rude to the glam that was there.
Oh,
You
we
know,
have to
and
talk
not,
about that too.
and I know we'll get there, but like it carried over, and you're like, oh, okay, so I'm not Team Kenya or Team Ramona, but Ramona, like, do you live in your own world?
Right.
Like, what is going on here? It's really what she wants, when she wants, how. What, yeah, it's just it's a
It
lot.
would be very
Ramona is a
annoying though.
lot.
But listen, like we don't have. I can't name one friend of ours unless you could think of someone. I can't name a friend that we have. I wouldn't have a friend like Ramona only because I can't do the selfish me. Do you know who I am? Cater to my needs. I would be very
Right.
annoyed with that. But
Well, I'm happy. You know who's really good in this whole series is he's kind of like the glue is Michael.
Oh, well, speaking of our next comment,
Oh.
Sis on the move, up and Adam, have you heard about the backlash that Michael, the concierge, is getting from episode 4? Not to go off topic. Yes, I've heard about, him letting Luann sit on top of him and take the shot out of his mouth while being a very married man. I think that let me say this with as carefully as possible. I think he knows he's on camera. I think that production saw him and they were like, you have your stuff together. You're a good looking guy. The women are going to love you. If I were his wife, would I be pissed? Yes. I mean, I would.
Maybe.
I would.
She's even come out herself. And by the way, I
no,
don't
but her
spoil
flashing
anything,
him.
but he'll be able to tell you himself. But I think that, if his wife said this and that, it's TV, friends. Like, we got to remember that. It's reality, but I think it's just reality flirtation. They were playing that up 100%.
I agree with that. 100%.
Okay. Would I enjoy that though? If Adam was playing Twister and bent down or someone bent on top of him and not really, even if I knew the assignment. So I understand that, but he shouldn't be getting any backlash because as we see this episode, he's very good at controlling problems.
Yeah.
And one of those was Ramona and the Glam Squad.
And I think that he also woke up the next morning and saw how messy as hell all of them were. And he was like, this is a disaster. No, I don't want none of that. You know what? Keep your high maintenance women, throwing a party like there's a ton of people here to clean it up, leaving it all on me. That's what I get with you. I'll keep my wife. No. But for Ramona too, another problem that she had in this episode, guys, and we have almost 300 people in the room. So again, smash that like button. Ramona was incredibly rude to the Glam Squad. Now, if we don't know, let me tell you, only because I have a few friends, Jason and I, who are also on Bravo shows, and they do get glam. And when you get glam, it doesn't matter if you order them through an app that day, whatever their services, whatever the case is, you pay them right then and there. They are providing a service for you. You don't get a haircut and say, send me a bill. You know what I mean? Like, you pay for these services. So Ramona's coming off completely.
Sometimes even in advance.
Yeah. And Ramona's coming off completely like, I don't know if tone deaf is the right words, but
completely tone deaf because she changed her story so many times. She said they were supposed to be here at 6. Then we heard 6:30. Then she went back to 6. Then she went to 6:30. And then I just felt like you couldn't even find your phone. And the Glam person even said, we did text you and we were here. She's like, oh, let me check my phone. Where is my phone? If you don't know where your phone is, you just lost your argument.
And then she's walking around for another 20, 30 minutes, wasting time, walking around looking like a damn peacock with this hair up, which is fine. Normally, that's what I look like too. But she's like, my hair's fine. It's fine. And Michael's like, let's get you in glam, please. We're going to get you in glam. Let's get you in glam. But one argument that I didn't listen for me, and I want to hear what you guys think in the chat. I don't like a forced storyline or a forced argument where we're not really understanding. And there was a forced storyline between these two in this episode. This is Cynthia Bailey. This is Ramona Singer. Ooh, they look different. But this is an older photo. Ramona and Cynthia get into this back and forth on this episode because Cynthia's pissed. She's like, I didn't get a full glam because they were waiting around for you. You didn't respect my glam time. This is completely disrespectful to me. And now I'm falling short because you wanted to be Ramona and think that the whole world revolves around you. Ramona's like, no.
I do have to say, Cynthia looked really good. For whatever half glam that was, I was like, yeah, you still got it.
Yeah, when she was like, I caked my own face. I'm like, you don't need glam. You're beautiful. Like, Ramona is also beautiful. She
needs some glam.
She needs some glam. But Cynthia is just like, even when I see her without makeup, I'm like, oh, you're a supermodel. You don't need anybody.
This even goes back. I mean, maybe, she's had some too many drinks or something, but Ramona thought what she was wearing was like off the charts, amazing to go on the yacht. And then you look at all of the other women who brought it to a T. Oh my God. I loved all of their outfits, by the way, on the yacht. All of their. And then Kenya was bringing up, I don't like to travel or go anywhere without being dressed up, not even on a plane with flip-flops. I won't do that. So
when Kenya shared that story too, by the way, if you guys missed the episode, Kenya's talking to Kyle about, listen, you know, I don't understand why Ramona's dressed like that. Like she's going on like a dinghy and not a yacht, because even my assistant showed up with these tacky clothes wearing these big logos. And I had to have something written up to let my assistant know, or the nanny, I think it was the nanny, that you need to have a certain dress code. And Kyle Richards said, I'm from Beverly Hills, and this is by far one of the most unrelatable conversations ever. I was like, Kenya, you sound also very tone deaf here. This is tone deaf. Like
it did sound like that. That was really funny.
Yeah.
I do have to I don't want to like switch a little bit like lanes here.
No,
like
go ahead.
Kyle does sometimes. But when you had Cynthia, she feels like she's not being heard. And we're seeing this side to Cynthia that we have never seen before. What is going on? You and I have hung out with Cynthia a few times. And something here, it's like she's not being heard, or she doesn't feel like a part of the group. And do you think that's just because Kenya has been branching out a little bit with all the women?
No.
Or what's happening here? Because I haven't seen Cynthia like this ever.
I feel like, and I agree with you, since we've met her in person, she's amazing. She's beautiful. She's fabulous. And she's one of the biggest sweethearts I think we've ever met. She's so sweet. I think what happens is she's steamrolled in her own franchise, and the women always take over the conversation. They talk over her. They're like, you're a filler. And I think they treat her like a filler. So I think that she was very adamant about coming into this situation and being like, no one is going to steamroll over me. And then Kenya sort of sets the precedent by talking over her, not letting her get a word in. And it just kind of makes it feel like, oh, okay.
It almost felt like Kenya felt like, you know what, you're no longer on our franchise, so I can treat you how I want here.
But she didn't know that.
At the time, I thought that's why they kept good graces for a minute.
No, Cynthia just recently made that decision just a couple months after, because she was going to agree to take a lesser role, which was a friend role, and Bravo was going to accept that. And then after they prolonged filming, she finally said, you know what? No, keep me out of it. I don't want this to affect my relationship. I think I'm done. I know my time to walk away.
And better to leave on a high note, 100%.
But
you don't
also
want to be a friend for long. Look at what happened to Vicky.
I mean, had Cynthia come back this season, though, there have been a lot of cheating allegations on Mike Hill already. Mike Hill wrote a whole book about his infidelities, how he's constantly cheated before in the past. And I think that Cynthia, which is sad, this is sad, I think that she feels like if she keeps him in this bubble, not exposed to reality TV and the storylines, and like these women are all sharks, right? Like Bethany knowing Tom D'Agostino was a dog and knowing that he was going to cheat on Luann and like, hold on, here it is. Let me serve it to you on a silver platter. I think that Cynthia doesn't want the women to meddle into her marriage like this. And I'm sure it could be hard on their relationship. And I'm also sure that Mike Hill, because he is respected in his profession, would probably be like, you know what? Keep that shit. I've worked my ass off. I'm not going to let you and your friends destroy me publicly on national television. So I feel like Cynthia opted out and was like, okay.
That makes sense, though, because even someone said in your chat, too, like she only made that decision after this.
Yeah.
That maybe after this experience, she was like, you know what? I need a timeout.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, really, she's been there for a long time. Like her story has completed itself at this point.
And Deborah Cartier said it's either Cartier or Cartier, but if it's Cartier, that's fancy. Okay. Cynthia seems to be so over this trip. I agree too. I think Cynthia's over this trip. I also think Teresa's very over this trip, but I also, in my mind, feel like they're still in the honeymoon phases with their relationships. And they're like, I have a man at home that loves me or is allegedly cheating on me, but says he loves me. I don't need to be with all of these catty women. I'll go home. If I were a housewife, I would live for a trip to Turks and Caicos. But at the end of the day, everybody's different. And I think Cynthia's over this trip because we're watching her, and I don't know what's wrong with Cynthia. I love Cynthia, but I feel like she is reaching for some sort of dramatic storyline. Like From the glam, it's not that big of a deal. You look beautiful. You look 10 times better than Ramona without glam. You're fine. To the, Kyle didn't want to play the game and say who the sexiest person was. Well, you messed up my night. That's not that big of a storyline. All she was saying is, I have 4 daughters. I don't want to make it okay for my daughters to think in their head, oh, well, my sister's prettier. This is, she was trying to say everyone is great for their own reasons. And Cynthia didn't like that. She said, it's just a game. Let's play the game. So Cynthia has these kind of BS storylines on this season, which don't really add up or make sense to anyone, as opposed to I get why Kenya's pissed at Ramona. She's been disrespectful, blatantly disrespectful in her face. She's calling her out of her name. I get that,
But at the same time, do you give Kenya not a pass, but do you kind of go easy on her because she is dealing with her own situation during this trip? She's going through her divorce with Mark and trying to figure things out. Do you give her any pass, trying to have a good time, but at the same time, do you think she overreacted because of other things going on? Or do we think this is typical Kenya?
No, I think Kenya's shady as hell, and I think she knows how to play the game. I've never seen Kenya get physical. I've seen Portia drag Kenya off the reunion floor, but I haven't seen this side of Kenya, so do I think that these other factors play into it? Yeah, it's a divorce. It's huge. She's not only fighting for her, she's fighting for her daughter, and she's fighting, Mark Daly is trying to take her to the bank and take half of her money, take half of her home, which we saw her build on the Real Housewives of Atlanta without him ever in the picture. She's going up against a lot. So could that play into her emotions? 1,000%. Also, somebody also just said, why does Kyle always run after Kenya and not Cynthia? I think it's because Cynthia made it known to Kyle, I don't deal with you. You messed up. You crossed me. You apologized. I hear you. You apologized 4 times.
Kyle loves to follow relevancy. So I think that Kyle will go after who's the more relevant housewife.
I agree with that.
Just in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. But one feud that I didn't like, do you know where I'm going?
No.
I didn't like this.
Oh, neither did I.
I didn't like it, and I didn't understand Luann. So again, guys, if you didn't watch the episode, just to give you some insight, this was Teresa's night. And in Teresa's night, she wanted to, cook for the women, make her famous homemade meatballs out of her cookbook. Melissa was excited, and it was supposed to be her night where she didn't really get all glammed up. She looked beautiful, but she wanted to really get in there and make the meal special. When she did, she said a toast to the table, and she went around the table, said something nice about everyone, including Ramona, who said, when she said, you're kind of your own thing, and we just take you for what you are, and we have to appreciate it or not, but she was nice about it. And then she looked at Luann and said, Luann, I love you. I've met you a couple of times. I think you're great. I just think we need to get you a little bit of a backbone. And what she was referring to is the way that Ramona feels like she can constantly steamroll and be so incredibly disrespectful to Luann,
100%.
Which she is. But Luann, her reaction when she started speaking up and getting angsty, and she's like, you don't know me? Don't say that to me. Don't say I don't have a backbone. You don't know me like that. So take that back and watch what you say about people because you don't know me. I'm like,
it was very quick. She reacted very quick, and I don't think she understood what Teresa was trying to say. I didn't feel like Teresa was trying to put it out that way.
It wasn't even that quick. She didn't react in the moment. It's like she stewed on it.
It was 10 minutes later, yeah. But I don't think, even when she was in her confessional, she's like, you can't sit like this without a backbone. It's like, girl, listen, that's not, no one was saying that.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was saying that.
They're just saying
But
that.
Teresa, the whole day, the whole night, even through what happened on the yacht, I was surprised she kind of keeps her cool. And I like to see Teresa in the kitchen. I always have, but it was nice this time as well.
I feel like I've learned a lot about the different ladies. And Teresa, we see her in her own light on the Real Housewives of New Jersey. We know, we've seen her on the reunion floor when Jackie's yelling at her and saying, this isn't the Teresa show. And she's like, girl, it is the Teresa show. I don't know if you're not in line, but check that at the front door. This is my show. They paused filming for me when I went to prison. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but you're irrelevant as hell. We've seen these nasty sides of Teresa, and we're watching her even in this moment where she's like, that's not what I meant. I'm sorry that that's how it came across. That's not what I meant. And what I appreciate about that is Teresa could have taken that moment like Luann did, and Luann knew that's not what Teresa meant. But Teresa could have ran with this moment and been like, bitch, don't talk to me like that because I'm iconic for the table flip. You want me to flip this table with all the meatballs? You want to go there? But she didn't take that moment. And I feel like we're getting that from Cynthia, you know, a little bit where she is looking for a moment and she's trying to make it into a bigger thing. Where
it felt like that, but it also felt, I just felt that Luann's reaction was not validated. I didn't understand what was, I don't think it was that. You do see Ramona run over Luann this whole time, you know, and Luann just knows how to deal with her and accepts it, because look what happens when you don't. You get that reaction, then like you have people calming, you know, Ramona down. Luann just doesn't want to go into any of that, and I understand that. But at the same time, Teresa had your back earlier, girl. She wasn't trying to like give you a dig at dinner.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
It just randomly said mic muted. I don't know why. Sorry. You know, a lot of people were mad at Kenya because when she was yelling at Ramona, she's like, "You don't know me, girl. Like, I'm from the South. We play very different." And Pinsy just said, "Where was the Detroit when Portia kicked Kenya across the floor, or she dragged her across the floor?"
That's a great point.
But it is true. You know, Melissa Gorga I think she said it best, and she was carrying, like, she was wearing kid gloves when she was trying to express this to Kenya, because Kenya was emotional and she was upset. You know, we didn't know, like, she just honestly grabbed Ramona's arm and Ramona got her to that next level, which it takes a lot to get somebody to. And we've seen Kenya dragged and ripped for filth on Atlanta, and we've never seen her react like that. So in this moment, you know, I think Melissa said it the best. She's like, you have a statute to you, like a way that you are, you have a large personality. And I think that could come off a little bit intimidating. And for Ramona, she's all bark, but it's almost like when somebody eventually like snaps at her, she's like, "Oh no, wait, what a minute. What did I do?"
No, of course. Yeah.
Ramona likes to fight with her words and like, "I'm up here, you're down there. I'm dismissing you. It's done. Conversation over." And Kenya is a wordsmith. Like, she will read you for filth. So it's different.
I do, you know, at the table, I don't know why this is coming into my mind right now, and maybe the live chat can bring me to some kind of, I don't know, conclusion for this. But when Teresa was going around the table, she skipped Melissa, and I know that she's just meeting all of the other ladies, kind of. But did she skipped Melissa? If I'm not mistaken,
she did,
right?
skip. Yeah, I think she was
and
trying.
You could see a little bit in Melissa that, like, do you want to like say anything? Did you get that, or was it just me?
Yeah, and I think that there's
just a little bit.
It's always going to be that way, though, because Melissa, you know, she's younger than Teresa. She's beautiful. She has her family together. She hasn't been through near what Teresa has been through, at least not in our eyes as the viewers and the fans. And I think Teresa likes to remind Melissa, "I started this show. Know your place." And for Teresa going around, she gets a pass because she was acknowledging how happy she is to get to meet all of these women in person.
All of the new ladies, and I understand
but
that.
She could have said something.
You could have just given a comment. You could have just given a sentence. Like,
it's nice to
Melissa,
bond
I'm
with
so
you.
glad to be here with you as we meet these other ladies. Or, Melissa, I'm so glad you're in my brother's life and we get to, yeah, I don't know. There's so many other things you could have said that I just think would have, but it was just like, pass.
Yeah.
Next. That's what it felt like. But it was very quick and it was very subtle. So I don't know if anyone else noticed that or not. I was just curious.
You know what's funny is Cindy Thomas in the chat said, "I thought she skipped Melissa because they were on the same show and Teresa's just getting to know the rest." And then Kay Beecham said she did skip her and it was intentional. So
I almost thought it was.
I thought it I didn't really think about it until you brought it up. But I think it kind of is intentional, only because, again, I feel like she's reminding Melissa, I
think Melissa is in the same place as Luann, where she knows how to handle Teresa. You know what? Pass on that. I understand what you were trying to do and what you were doing. I'm not going to go into this because it's not the time or the place. And we've already had our kind of like altercation about how I got on the show. I'm not doing this here or now. Like, I feel like she's like Luann. She's like, "Let me handle Ramona." Melissa's like, "Let me handle Teresa. I'm just going to ignore it."
Yeah, exactly. Gustav said, "If you can't say anything nice," and then Kay Beecham said, "She is dismissive of Melissa," but she is dismissive of Melissa. And there's a family dynamic there because you have to remember too, Teresa, At the same time, within the same like couple of years, she lost her husband, she lost her mother, she lost her father. The only family she has left besides her 4 beautiful daughters would be Joe Giudice. And in order for her to maintain that relationship, we've seen on New Jersey where Joe is like, you need to, if you want me in your life and in your kids' lives, you need to make sure that you stay right with Melissa.
But
and
why
Teresa
not?
doesn't have an
Where
option.
has Melissa gone yet? She
What do
hasn't
you
gone
mean?
anywhere. I mean, like Melissa hasn't left. She's right there.
And that's the thing.
She's
is
always
like,
trying to make it work with Teresa. They're always, I feel like Melissa is more concerned with the relationship of Teresa and Joe than Teresa is sometimes.
well, and I think that Teresa has this sort of big head syndrome of like, I'm still like, I think her brother, honestly, and this is, I swear this is how I feel. I think her brother is the only one who can take her back down and take her off that high horse of celebrity, Bravo celebrity on a show. People, and I don't know if you've seen this, but if you see photos or videos from TMZ of like Teresa entering in a store or whatever, she's treated like you would think it was Celine Dion. It's ridiculous. People swarm her and everyone's like, picture, please. And they like start grabbing on her. It's crazy the fandom that Teresa has, but I think Joe knocks her off that high horse, letting her know this will be gone eventually. But guess
you're still going to have
be
Melissa, and that's where I think Melissa sees her too. It's like at the end of all this, I'm still going to be your sister-in-law. I'm still going to be by your side. So let's, I don't know,
figure it out.
Figure it out.
All
Interesting
right.
dynamic.
Well, guys, at the end of the season, we are going to have an interview with Michael. Michael can't talk until the season's over, so I'm so excited to pick his brain. And also thanks to Jason. Jason was the one who reached out to him. I tried looking for him on social media, could not find him. And Jason messaged me when I was in the bathtub and was like, look who I found. I'm like, I literally looked for like an hour, but Jason's better at that than I am. Jason, is there anything that we panned over? Like, is there anything that we missed?
Not so much. I want to say though, to have a big Italian feast and with Teresa not really used to people getting up in the middle of dinner and leaving, as she said, her dad wouldn't appreciate that. I was surprised how quick people were just to get up. Like Kenya left, Ramona left. It's like, it is rude because there was no real, I don't know. There was no real, I don't know. You just got up. I haven't seen that yet. I don't know, for some reason.
Yeah. And I agree with that too. I wasn't allowed to get up from the table until I was done or everybody else was done. It's kind of how I grew up too. And I didn't grow up in a big Italian family. And I know that you were raised a certain way too, where you were supposed to be at dinner at a certain time. You didn't leave until, a certain time. Everybody came dressed to the T. Like that's how you grew up. So I feel like we all grew up differently.
That read to me because my grandfather was a general in the army, and how dinner on Sundays, because we always went to his house for dinner on Sundays, worked was at 5:00. Everybody had to be at the dinner table.
Everybody
seated down. Everybody. I'm saying it like Everybody had to be sat down at the table. My hair had to be combed. My shirt had to be tucked in. Collared shirt, belt on. And if you were not ready at 5:00, you were dismissed. And then my grandfather would have his bourbon at 5:05. And from 5:05 to 5:15, we went around the table and talked about what's happening in our lives. Which was so interesting because I grew up Mormon, and usually on Monday nights we have family home evening, which is where we kind of do that and then go through lessons about the church, etc. But my Jewish grandfather had this thing every Sunday night, and it felt like we were doing that all over again. But you can't talk out of place. You can't leave the table. You have to ask permission to use the restroom. I have never ever been sent down to the basement, because you got sent down to the basement if you couldn't participate or be ready or use your manners. Yeah, you got sent to the basement.
Well, I have to say too, though, for Teresa to grow up the way, that she did, where you don't leave the table and you act a certain way, she was very composed when Kenya gets up, Kyle chases after her. Everybody's like in a tizzy. Ramona's having a meltdown at the table. Like everybody's focused on me. I don't know why.
She's like, I just made you dinner. What other housewife is actually sitting here making you dinner?
Did you see her though? She's like this.
And eat.
This was her face. She was like, and they would come back and they would be like, sorry, Teresa, we know this is your night. We're not trying to take away from you. And she's like, no, it's fine. And she looks like, I'm so fucking over this. I want to go home. And mind you, she filmed right after this. She jumped right into New Jersey right after this show. And I think she was just like, I have to get, this is what it's going to be. My whole fairy tale of, I have Louis, nobody's in our business, there's no drama. Well, that's about to stop for another 4 months because we're about to jump into the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So you can see where she's just like,
eventually, maybe February. What are we looking at right now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Guys, 500 in the room. Go ahead, smash that like button. Hey. I do want to say, Judy, you got this. I have to say, I love you together, yin and yang. Thank you.
Oh, you have no idea.
I wonder if something edited out is something edited out. Kenya is usually more composed. That could be true. And they edit out a lot, just to be fair. And Fia said, that's the second time Kenya was rude at dinner, first at Cynthia's, and then second leaving the table. See, I think that Kenya pans over those moments. Like, she doesn't think she's being rude because she feels like she has a legitimate reason to walk away. However, I don't think she's thinking about the rest of the group. I think she's thinking about Kenya. And I think she's in that selfish place, that selfish mindset, because right now she's in protection mode over her and her daughter.
I understand that. But at the same time, with all the ladies, it's like, where does awareness come in? Where are you aware of what you're doing? It's like, okay, you might not be able to stand Ramona, but there are other women at the table who can't also, and they're not doing the same thing, but at the same time, Ramona is the most unaware person in this entire group at every situation, at every moment, at every hour. So,
I mean, Gustav said Kenya is full of herself. To be fair though, Gustav, I don't know one of these women on the show, on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, who's not a little full of themselves. Like,
Cynthia. I would have to say Cynthia would be the least.
Yeah, okay, fair. Like, Cynthia, I haven't met some of the other ones in person. Cynthia is an absolute sweetheart. Yeah, you're right. Cynthia would be the one who's
herself at all, and she doesn't even want to be bothered about it.
No, and we've heard horror stories from other housewives about Ramona. Luann, you can see she's like, I mean, at the point where Bethany's screaming across her and she's like, life's not a cabaret. I'm like, okay, so she's also a little full of herself. Melissa Gorga, I think she's just like, listen, I'm one of the younger, hotter housewives. Yeah, I got the family, I got the life. Teresa's like, no, sit down, I'm an OG. And then Kenya's like, bitch, I'm here. So I feel like they're all a little full of
themselves. But that is the point of this show. We have the ultimate girls trip. We have the ultimate egos. I mean, wait till next season, okay? Wait until next season. Dorinda. I'm so looking forward to Dorinda's the trip at the Berkshires. Like, I'm really looking forward to that. It just like, this is setting me up for that. They are being set up for success.
Dorinda is going to,
I think they brought the cast too.
Them alive. And we know that we have a new Tres Amigas, which is Brandy Glanville, Vicky Gumbelson, Tamra Judge. What could go wrong?
Oh, everything. The worst. But then we also have Dorinda. We have Phaedra. Who else is on it?
Taylor Armstrong, Eva Marcille, Jill Zarin.
Oh, that just went so south with those three names.
Well, and that's the thing too. I feel like these women on the show, and mind you, again, Cynthia did not know she was going to be off of Atlanta. I feel like these women came into it like, we know what we're doing. We don't have to go extra above and beyond. Like, they offered us to come on. So we already feel like, okay, we're doing the damn thing because nobody else from our franchises got invited into this. We did. And it's launching this new franchise. And then I feel like these other women who are coming to Dorinda's house are like, wait a minute, we were axed from Bravo. We lost our full-time positions. We're coming in and we're getting attention because we're getting our ass back on the show. Yeah. Sure. It's going to be
I'm curious now that Andy has revealed that Jill Zarin was the hardest housewife to ever work with, how she will be on the show.
I don't think she'll get along, to be fair. I know that Brandy.
Am I mistaken, or were Jill and Dorinda never on together?
Jill and Dorinda they've been in passing. They've seen each other. We've seen them on the show together.
So the only kind of Real Housewives of New York cast member we have on the show besides Dorinda is Jill.
Right.
But they've never really.
No, but they know each other. They've known each other for a long time.
I would assume.
Dorinda knew Bobby.
Right. And I would assume all of that. But that's interesting. This is going to be fun.
But also surprising. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying, I really like how they are doing Ultimate Girls Trip. I am enjoying it. I look forward to watching it more than some of the other franchises currently, like Salt Lake City. I'm excited for tonight for the reunion of Potomac, but I really look forward to this. And Peacock's doing a very good job.
I see. Okay, two things really quick. One, I was so shocked that Brandi Glanville and Phaedra Parks hit it off. I don't know how that happened because Phaedra is so classy, you know, and even though she spread that rumor and she admitted to it, which is disgusting, just to be fair. It's disgusting. It's defamatory. She's a lawyer. You know better, right? But I also think that you can redeem yourself. You had a mess up. You got too involved into the show. The storylines was disgusting, but she might have, you know, got a piece of humble pie when she got fired, right? But for Brandi Glanville, she is so incredibly unfiltered with an I don't give a shit attitude that I don't know how did these two become friends? You know what I mean? They're like on two totally different spectrums. Like Phaedra and Dorinda, I could see. Phaedra and Jill, I could see. Phaedra and Eva, Phaedra and Taylor. And then also, you know who pointed out to me?
I really want to see what Taylor's going to give.
Well, Zach Peter made a good point to me, and so did David Yontif. They said, if you remember, I don't know, old school Beverly Hills guys, stick with us. Again, 500 in the room. That's amazing. Smash that like button. Happy Sunday.
Sorry, we're starting to jump all over now.
Yeah, but sorry. But with Taylor Armstrong, if you remember back to like that one of those scenes where Kyle called her and she's like, yeah, Kennedy's with me. And Taylor was like, I'm on a private jet and I'm so drunk. And Kyle's like, okay, well, I have Kennedy. Just let me know when you're coming back. She's like, wait, what? Kennedy's with you? And she just looked and she's like, you don't know your daughter, your like 6-year-old daughter is with me. But when Taylor starts drinking, she becomes, do you remember also when she tried interrupting, who was it? David Foster's? Oh, like when he was on the piano and she started singing and she started crying.
Yolanda's like, yeah.
She's like, keep your mouth shut when my husband is playing because he is a musical genius and you have no voice. And
I mean, I'm just going to go out in left field here and say that I'm excited to see Taylor. I'm excited to see how, I mean, we haven't seen her in so long. And then all of a sudden throwing this one just at us, you know? So I think that'll be fun. I think Vicky's going to be really annoying.
I think she will be too.
I think Eva Marcel, I could go either way.
Eva never really ever sparked my interest. Like
not in Atlanta at all, not one bit. But maybe in this group of women, she's gonna shine a little more. Jill Zarin, I don't know.
I'm not excited about Jill.
I'm excited to see Phaedra and Tamara for some weird reason.
Because Tamara's a shit show.
She's a shit show. But most of all, I'm excited to see Dorinda host this, and I'm excited to see what are they going to do with season 3 and how are they going to like top this? Because I feel like we're going to get Ultimate Girls Trip, and then we're going to get the second one, the Berkshires, whatever they're going to call it. Is it going to be called Ultimate Girls Trip? I guess it would. Again, and then, well, how are they going to top it with the 3rd season? I've seen rumors of casts and things like that, but how are you going to top that? You know, and you're going to have to keep topping it if you're going to keep it on.
Another thing that I wish too, and you might completely disagree with me, is I wish that on Ultimate Girls Trips, they had like their little taglines, but they had one specific to that, you know what I mean? Ultimate Girls Trip, like from their experience. Like I could see Vicky being like, I was the OG of the OC, but now I'm unemployed on reality TV.
I don't need the taglines for some reason. I really like the intro. I love everything. I don't need those necessarily, but
okay.
I do like the way they're doing confessionals, like when they're doing it staged and when they're doing it just in the house. It's a fun take on the Housewives for sure.
All right. Well, guys, in order to end us off really quick, I'm going to ask Jason this great question from Ashley, and I want to ask all of you. Gustav, yeah, Adam, great idea. Thank you. Ashley said, who is getting the fish room? Shark room, but the fish room. I'm going to have to guess.
So wasn't the fish room like redone or something like that? Because some people have said when we have talked about this that it's no longer there. There's no way that fish room can no longer be there.
No, it's still there. I think it's still there.
Okay.
But we can find out on Airbnb. Her Bluestone Manor is listed on Airbnb. You can actually rent it.
Very true.
So I'm sure if
someone said it was redesigned, but I've also heard Phaedra gets it. So I'm curious, guys. I don't know.
Phaedra? See, I would put Brandi Glanville in either the fish room or the basement. Like I would just, sorry, Brandi, but I would just be like, listen, girl, it's so nice to meet you.
Especially in Ramona's house where the basement room feels like literally a mile away.
Yeah. Yeah. I would just be like, Brandi, we put a wine fridge in there. Take your little, go there. Fish room. So you're sleeping with the fishes.
No, they wouldn't bring another one back. I was like, can you imagine if Ramona hosts one and it's just like a shit show of housewives? But
I
we don't
would
want
love
to see Ramona anymore because I just really don't want to see her.
Well, since we know that we're going into 2 weeks of filming now, because I was a little shocked by this, I wish that they would have filmed like the first week, and then all of a sudden it's like, who's at the door? Nene Leakes is like, I'm here, bitches. What? And she gets to come in all fresh face, like she hasn't been filming with them for the whole week, and then she's like, watch this. Like, but we'll see. Honestly, I think this is going to be 10 times better than the first season anyways, because like I said, these women,
100%.
they have
the
a
first
lot to
season
gain.
has been great.
Yeah.
But I wonder too, and we talked about this on our live previous to this, the Wikiki on my channel, where what if you took the moms? And wouldn't it be funny as you got like, let's say four girls or 5 girls, housewives, and you put them out there, you send them on this trip, and then all of a sudden their moms show up. You have like Mama Joyce, Mama Dorothy, Mama D, just all show up at this house, and you're like, what the hell is going to go on? Like, that would be incredible, and that's a way to top it too. But they could save that even for season 4, because I still feel like they could pull off a season 3 of this. It's great.
And what would be funny about that too is that the women have a tendency to act different around their parents because their parents keep them in check. Like, mind you, the parents are like, I raised you. You weren't this person. You didn't have this celebrity. I made you. So the parents are really like the only ones. Like Candace, she's so sharp on the tongue and she's so quick and she's a wordsmith. She can read anyone for filth. But when Mama Dorothy walks in, you see Candace kind of like go into a shell a little bit like, oh, Mom, you know? So it would be really hilarious to see. I'm down for a mom's version.
100%. Ultimate Girls Trip with moms.
Ultimate Girls Trip. All right. Yeah. Well, with that, guys, we're finishing at about 500 people in the room. Thank you guys so much for watching and for another great, just a day full of videos. We've done so many videos today, so many lives, and we will be back tonight at 10 or 10:15, depending on, I think it's 10:15. We're going to talk about Portia's Family Matters. So guys, go check it out. I already have the video up where you guys can click, join us tonight. I'm going to take callers. Jason and I will probably be on for an hour recapping tonight's episode. It's the premiere of Portia's Family Matters. That's what I just called it, right? Portia's Family Matters?
Portia's Family Matters.
Yes,
but
Portia's
I think I'm more excited tonight to watch Real Housewives of Potomac.
Well, duh, and we'll be recapping that tomorrow too. So I'm excited about both of them. Jason, is there anything that I'm missing? Is there something that we have coming up or what's going on?
No, besides that, tomorrow we're going to recap Real Housewives of Potomac on my channel, usually between 11 and 12. And there's no Salt Lake this week, so we're not doing our revolving door of collaboration with Kempire this week.
No, but I will be back on tomorrow. Yeah, we did it today. I'll be back on tomorrow though on Tisa Tells. If you guys don't know her, check her out. And I'm going live with Tisa, Grace Report, and Layla Lynn. I had to think about that in a second, guys, because we've had 3 days off and I'm trying to remember. We have a lot happening, but we're going to be rotating and talking about Portia's Family Matters. But tonight, Jason and I will be talking about it on my channel just to kind of make sure that we cover it over here for all of you guys too. If you guys haven't already, go check out Jason's channel, Down with Jason. Also, don't forget to smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed and hit the notification bells because they mean something. We love you guys. Jason, anything you want to add before we go?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Bye, guys. You're the best. We appreciate you. And thank you to all of our mods, super chats, super stickers. Actually, we didn't get any super chats, super stickers. I'm just used to saying it. Thank you to everyone. And thank you for smashing that like button. We love you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.